Hi, Henk Akkermans, Supply Chain Dynamics Chapter 8, Part 3, the case setting, the A380 case setting. This is what we're looking at. Fair is fair. In fact, all major new aircraft have been seriously delayed of late. This is the Boeing Dreamliner, 3 years late. This is the Airbus A380, also 2 years late. The Joint Strike Fighter, or the F-30 as it 35 is now called, or the NH-90, the military helicopter. All of these, the NH-90, do you know what the 90 stands for? Yes, indeed. So all these are seriously late. So this program, the A380, is by no means an exception, which is interesting because these are truly, absolutely world-class companies: Boeing, Airbus, Lockheed Martin, the European industry. Just very briefly, and we'll see this later on in chapter 13 once more, the timeline, what happened. So in around 2000, the program was launched, a big, huge plane, which was the top of the bill for the European civil aviation or aircraft industry, Airbus with its mother company ADS. In June 04, internally, and we only know this in retrospect, the first schedule delays become visible. In January 05, the first A380 is shown to the public. One was okay, but there was a handmade one. In June 05, the first delay is officially announced, but in the year after that, the second delay is announced. And that really catches headlines. It leads immediately to a drop in share of 26%, to a step down of the CEO and the board of directors. And the worst was yet to come, because there was a third delay, and then you get cancellations from companies, and they had to fire 1,000 people in staff and lost a serious amount of money later on. So that's pretty much a horror story. The reason that I can tell you about this story is because one of the suppliers for the A380 was Dutch aircraft manufacturer Fokker, and they produce a number of things, amongst those a specific innovative material called glare, which was used for the fuselage, the outside of the plane. You could see the blue areas in here. And a couple of other things, and so they were closely involved, my friends and sponsors at Fokker, in this program. What happened? Well, many different people have many different views on why things went wrong. At least this one starts with a very good quote, which is not really all that appropriate. Nobody ever gets credit for fixing problems that never happened, but it's still the best article title ever. So an ultimate product nightmare situation is a lot of last time spec, a top-down market-driven schedule. Market-driven you could read as unrealistic. Very distributed engineering manufacturing teams, the French, the Germans, the Spanish. All these have to work truly together. I wouldn't call this concurrent engineering, although it says there, it's between brackets. But at least what they did do was that the customer was allowed to fiddle with specific requirements. What I can agree with is that it's cost containment that drove some of the initial decisions. One of the fatal flaws in retrospect is that the German engineers worked in CATIA, that's an engineering computer-aided design package in 2D, whereas the French and the Spanish worked in 3D, and they did so because, it seemed too costly to make the investment. And it was also cost time to train the engineer. Well, that leads to, amongst many other things, no doubt, to the problems we saw before. They try to work harder, but we already know from the capability trap that doesn't work. And that's basically the end. So by now, most of these problems have been resolved. That means We are now many years later, and the A380 is sold repeatedly. But this remains a scar on the history of EADS, I suppose.